on the left one, so that the other one become an outlet for what go out. So I'm not saying close what you do not hear, so that what you hear. Now, waste of time, allow me to introduce to you the Apostle General Yaningwale, and I'm going to start some 40 years ago, when a young man, and I know he's no longer ago he was, that was put crusade, and to go time at the, because as he saw late Reverend Jimmy as his Lord and Savior back in 1978. I want to ask who was there. I know there was there, but a lot were not there. Maybe Dr. Kaba as well was there. Mama Faith was also there, but a lot of us were not there. That led to the foundation of Conquerors Through Christ ministry that today Africa. As led by General Yaningwale. Mr. General is married to Reverend Faith Ngwale, who's here with us, and thank you so much for being with us, Mama. Mama actually just arrived this morning from ministering in the Democratic Republic of. So these are with a daughter and a son. The son is here. And thank you for being with us. Authored include is now a also a tertiary study. That is the has, and I can tell you now that the Apostle General is really passionate about the African and their education. Sir, he is a kingmaker. A humble pleasure. Apostle General to come and address us as he comes to the.
University. Every year, we are hosting about 50 students, coinciding with our annual convention as the church. So I propose that we should pursue a twinning arrangement with this institution. This is big institution in America. I want that they should form partnership with your institution. And I will trigger that kind of an arrangement that every year we'll find sponsorship for here they eventually connect them with relations here, saying that you can vacation to. So criteria as must go there, I leave it to you, and so that they manage it. So for some America, because America is large and huge, and that you can also go into certain institutions, but by and large, that you need wisdom that you have collected that side. Coming to hand over the baton yet, but I want to share certain nuggets to help us be able to stimulate growth, and I'm talking about intellectual growth, spiritual growth, but wisdom in our people. And so, strategic questions that you are going to be asking, it left me really found that it is going to be strategic questions. And so if it's going to be strategic questions, they are not going to ask me about ANC and EFF. The brief was quite large. I would be given the opportunity to for the future. I think in the country, without being boastful, if they are going to ask who is more in tune, qualified to speak about positioning, I will come to unravel it for you in a short time. I don't think that anyone except myself. I'm not even proud to say what I can tell you. When I'm going to be talking on this aspect of positioning yourself, I'm not looking at you jogging for positions, hustling and doing all kinds of things. I am talking about strategically helping you that you can arrive at the level where God called you unto. Amen. How you can make that in our nation. And I will just give you my resume, going into much detail to tell you the things that I have done in this calling that the Lord has given to me. Is that okay with you? Yes. So there are 5 nagging fundamental issues that have been perennial to the economic sphere of South Africa. These fundamental issues, I'm not going to tackle all of them, just to pick one of them and talk to you about. So we are going to look at poverty, inequality in the country. We're going to look at racism, unemployment, and the economic stagnation. Because I can tell you that they are pouring so much of theories and so much of information to you. But the question that you should be asking yourself is, when you are told that there's so much unemployment, is it the route that you're supposed to be taking, therefore, that when you leave with your certificate here, you should be thinking of employment? Right? When you are looking at the South African economy, it has been so stagnant for a while now. Do we have hope that when you leave this institution, you would be able to exercise your God-given talents and giftings? These are the questions. So just dealing with one of the above-mentioned issues poses a formidable challenge to any administration in a our government. Be it the government of Thabo Mbeki up to the government of Cyril Ramaphosa right now. This, if you look at all these issues that I'm raising there, it's a great challenge in our country. So we require Josephs and Daniels. Why are you so quiet? I'm used to be people talking. Even I have trained, I'm coming to you. I have trained even politicians when I talk to say amen. Say amen. So Josephs and Daniels are needed in our dispensation to manifest, and so that they can be able to rise and deal with issues. So when Mandela became president, our average per capita income in its terms, South Africa was classified as an upper middle income economy. Turkey was actually railing behind us. But today, when you come and make an assessment, it looks as though that Turkey has even overtaken us. Are we still that upper middle income economy? So that's a question mark. I would say to you, today we are characterized by great endemic poverty. 75% of countries is poor are rural people. Poverty is explained in terms of more than just an income. When I talk about poverty, I will talk in terms of lack of access of water. I mean, in our country, if you are telling me and say, how many are the people who don't have access to water, you will be shocked. Lack of access to fuel for cooking. I'm not talking about fuel for getting from one point to the other, just for cooking. We are lagging behind. We are in dire straits. Just when you look at winter, when it comes and devastates our people, when we talk about just warmth, how many people have got access to warmth? All right. How many of you come from the Garden of Eden? That's the slogan, the strategy that I gave them during the time of Mwakora Matlodi. We'll talk about it. But how many? Let me see who come from the book. All right. How many come from the area of Transkei? So I'm trying to bring these people because when I will be talking, I think I have an understanding what we are talking about. Then you say you come from Guatemala. About dark streets, lighting, just lighting. Yeah. We take for granted because here at the university, if ESCOM has not decided to switch off the lights, you just go and switch while everything comes. Are you aware that there are people who have not seen this lighting? They don't even have access to SABC, let alone, they don't promote me, but I'm just using them as an example. Talk about adequate health, transport infrastructure, and you also talk about jobs. Nothing is found. So now poverty, according to race in our country, and as well it runs according to gender. There are more women who are poor in our country than men. It makes you think. Just stop. Also, poverty in our country, it's according to geographical lines. Yeah. And I can, when I talk about geographical lines, I can tell you that you will not find poverty in Sandton. You will find it somewhere in Alexandria. So when I talk about geographical lines, I'm going much more deeper. But I can tell you now that if you are going to go to Mafikeng today, then you are going to go to Lichtenberg today, and then you try and make an assessment, you will find that poverty is very glaring there. So that's geographical. 60% of the generation for the entire continent of is in South Africa. Now I'm getting somewhere now, I'm moving a step much closer to deal with issues. About 41% of households in South Africa have no access to electricity. That tells you that there is imbalance. I mean, if you are 60% of electricity of the continent resides here in South Africa. So there could be that there is mismanagement of resources. When 40% of the households do not have access to electricity. I'm supposed to be talking about these things. Or was I coming to talk about Jehovah? Strong inequality in South Africa in measurement of assets, property, housing and land sits in the main somewhere else than amongst you black people. So there is strong inequality in our country. Backwardness that drives our society comes through racism and also the denial of the opportunity to optimum creativity. There is no creativity currently, and even if people are jostling and hustling for becoming the mayor of this kind of town and this kind of city, if you can put them all together, you would find that they talk the same language. There is no uniqueness that comes through there. So we need creativity and we need inclusiveness in our economy. So these above stated facts and issues and challenges, I believe that as opportunities for us. Opportunities. Conversely, when you wake up and you see potholes, I want you to know that that's an opportunity for you as a graduate. Currently, when there is switching off electricity, what do they call it? This word of load shedding is highly political, you know. But let's talk about it, that they were loaded, but now they are shedding the load. Do you think that you are doing the shedding? So I'm saying that these terminologies, you know, anybody that comes from somewhere in Finland, when he comes here, he says, I heard you're talking about load shedding. I also need my load shedding. So, my submission is that problems were never solved, cannot solve them throughout the human history by systems. Before you're going to argue and say, what do you mean that systems cannot solve problems? Allow me that I submit to you that problems will always be solved by human beings. And human beings must apply their ingenuity to solve problems. You can come and about Marxism and talk about socialism and capitalism, those are systems, and those systems have never solved problems. After all said and done, it's a fellow human being that must rise and solve the problems. So the human capital of South Africa must be exposed to education, to training, and also to experience. And it has to be deliberately the way that you have used. When you spoke about deliberately, and I'm saying to you, I agree with you. I say a big amen, deliberately. Amen. And it must also be in a time frame. We cannot allow that this thing should be in perpetuity, that when you go back to the village where you come from, to the little town that you come from, those problems, they are still there. And time and again you hear people say, so we now and say, enough is enough. Let us put some time frames. But I am saying, people who are under the sound of my voice right now, you are the people that must solve the problems. Right? That's right. Investing money from this institution with solutions. Yeah. So that I have looked at, and I went to investigate this model after 26 years. Shanghai, a city in China, after 26 years, when the right people now took over and they did something on the city, those who were there before that 26 years could not recognize Shanghai. It became one of the developed cities in the world. So Shanghai becomes a measurement that tells us that when a human spirit has a will, everything is possible. It can happen. And therefore, the will that we need to drive is in this leadership. Leadership development. You. Whatever they have done into your psyche, into your soul, and they have told you that it is not possible with you, I want to reverse the record that has been playing in your life. I want to tell you right now that it is possible with you. The situation of South Africa can change because of you. I wish I can preach this message. Allow me, therefore, that I introduce certain people. We are talking about Shanghai, but let me also look at certain individuals who, when you look at them, before you shook their hands, you disqualified them. And later in life, they came to show you that it is within a fellow human being to bring changes in this life. Joseph, the Old Testament biblical character, was brought to Egypt as a slave boy. Yeah. How many of you know that? Yeah. Oh, you don't read your Bibles. You told me that there is another religion, so I don't know the other religion. The one that I know that you have called me for is the Bible religion. Oh, they're outnumbered. So you know that anything that is outnumbered does not win the vote, isn't it? Even in democracy. He worked for many other bosses until eventually he went to work for a gentleman called Potiphar. who realized the talent and the gifting that he had, and he promoted him to become the house manager. He was very diligent. Underline that word because that's the word that I'm going to use to you. Diligent. And eventually, he took over leadership. Even when he was sent to jail, he did not sit, hide his talent. He raised the bar. Hey, Joseph, regardless how young he was, he emerged, and he emerged very strong. So they took him out from jail because he saw the problems of the jail. Now, what it tells me is that once you are in this institution, are your eyes open that you can try now to resolve issues, solve problems, exercise your God-given talent and skill? Or are you waiting for management? In jail, he saw. Am I doing? Yes. Because I see people walking out. I don't know why they are walking out, but if I'm doing well, it's okay. So, when he came in front of Pharaoh, he came to issues. Jail, that they did not even ask how many years, how many experience. Institution. They stood. He say to you, it's an excuse that we cannot even take students right from the university and place them in areas of decision making. So that means we need to change. So you ask yourself, how many of black people have got that experience? Unless that you give them the opportunity. So, I submit to you that Joseph eventually became the prime minister of Egypt. So, we are looking for people who would set themselves apart. Amen. People who will position themselves. Yeah. So, when you are here at this university and institution, surely I can tell you now that you are not only here to take that they pour inside of you. You have to start to exercise the skill, the talent that you have. Even during vacations, you have to go back. When you go back to the village where you come from or the town that you come from, find ways in which you say, let me solve these problems. The question maybe you might be asking is that what Joseph was able to attain, about us, is it attainable? Or what we are hearing is things that we cannot achieve, is things that are more far-fetched. Many are people who leave institutions with great qualifications. But when they get to the communities where they come from, and towns and cities where they come from, they begin to hide themselves. They hide themselves within the crowds. I really cannot understand a graduate. That's me. I'm saying that's my version. that I could be wearing a Kosatu t-shirt and marching within the crowd. Exactly. No, surely. You have been trained that you should set yourself apart. There must be an orientation or positioning that must be inside of you. So some of them, they are themselves on those are qualities. All let you know is that they be in this and that, hiding themselves, and then you can't find anything that they are bringing of value. So some they will hide themselves in setbacks and say, no, I come from a family, you know, and Pastor, you don't know the family that I come from. Let me tell you, the one that is standing here in front of you, that if I can tell you from which family I came from, I take the old photographs and I show you than the photographs that I have now. No, you cannot match it. It's incomparable. So, I am here to say, let me talk to you, to say, after all said and done, it is not the system that must upgrade you, that must promote you. There is something that God has placed inside of you that must be awakened. So, most of us, we end up being comfortable to be in a common environment. Common environment. It makes people to end up being commodity material. There's a difference when you talk about uniqueness, something of value, and a commodity. Commodity is cheap. So I am here to tell you that you must not be afraid to travel the road which is less traveled. Amen. What is it that sets you apart right now in this institution, if I'm talking to you, from your colleagues who are here? What is it that sets you apart? Are you telling me that what sets you apart is I'm better than them? So can I tell you that after they have marked your script, what that mark that they've given to you must not be a mark that determines who you are. So when you are saying to me, I'm better than them, I would ask you a question, in what sense? You might come back and tell me and say, nah, I've got more value than them. You know, the shoes that I wear at university, no one in my university has ever worn that shoe. I would go beyond that and ask you and say, is on offer that comes from you for our community, for our nation? Amen. I've seen people who wear some shoes that when I look at it and they tell me and say they have spent 125,000 rand on a shoe. And I will ask, is that what balls? So intrinsically, we are going to, I agree that they are going to confer and give you your degree, and they are going to confer and give you the TUT certificate. That certificate can only open the door of an interview for you. After it has done that, you have just to shelve it somewhere. Because if you put it somewhere on your wall, it's not going to help you. So, qualitatively, it's what we are looking for. What is it when you finish this institute? You're done. South Africa is coming and asking you, offering. What's on offer? That's the challenge that we are going to see. But let me say to you, if I take the sums, the statistics in South Africa, I suggest and submit to you that you are 1 in 1,000. You have been given a positioning. Many people, so very few people. I wanted it, in fact, they came a bit late, they did not want to give me the number. I wanted that they should give me that kind of statistics so that we can make a comparative analysis as to how many people are graduates, diplomas, and the rest. So you possess a skill, but I want you to go a little bit deeper in terms of the skill because that you rare. You are like a 10-carat diamond. You are very rare. When you have your wood, when you are very rare. I can tell you, all these 7 million people, your people here are rare. And they need to know that when they live here, they must know that we are rare. Okay. Let's deal with this fact, Babukaba, of some of us, when we leave universities, all we want is to turn on the tap. It must be quick. So, encourage that instant gratification must not be the motivating factor for these people. So I'm talking about I want as much and I must come as fast as I can get and come with little effort. That instant gratification, and that's not what I believe that you are here at university, that when you go out, you want that after 6 months, they must see you driving down. All right. Let me go on some. They must see you driving C-class. That's not what we are going to do to our nation. Listen to me. There is no any other South Africa. This is the only South Africa we have. And me and you, we don't have any alternative. Yeah. Yeah. Country, this is all. Yeah. So prepare yourself. Come and country. I have observed that we as fellow human beings, to follow pathways which are least resistant. Don't want to sacrifice. Anything that everybody can get with less restraint becomes cheap. If I go out right now and I begin to walk with you in the pathways of Soshanguve, what is there that is on the ground? Stones, isn't it? So that tells you that everybody can have access to those stones. So if anybody begins to want to sell them, we are going to look at them very funny and say something is not right in their heads. You want to sell me a stone. So that stone has become such a great commodity that it has lost its value because everybody has got access to it. But can I say that your degree is not like that stone. So it has value. So what it tells me is that when you leave this institution, you are going to leave as a person of value. So I want you to move away from being a commodity and set yourself apart. Those Arifs introduce a concept of unique selling proposition, USP. And he says, if you differentiate yourself, you draw value. You draw value. Differentiate yourself. Position yourself. So I'm asking that all of us, we are going to come here. I've got brief engineering, and 10 of you engineering. Set you apart. So now you are just a. In fact, maybe somebody can be better in engineering. So that tells me that your degree is not going to be the only value that is enshrined upon you. You have now to enter a skill, and I leave you with that skill, and then I get into the accolades. Is that introduce a skill? This is the skill that made me to be, listen to me, I never looked at color anymore. When I knew about this skill, I said, it doesn't matter whether you're going to stand in front of me and tell me that your great-grandfather comes from England or your great-grandfather from Germany, it doesn't matter with me. This skill will set you apart. Will make I'm giving to you. As Scott in his book, The Richest Man Who Ever Lived, talks about this skill, the skill of diligence, to do things expeditiously, to do things efficiently, to do things effectively. Bible Club, they can tell you in church that like to be late. Punctuality is a virtue.
Amen.
I've come to understand that time is so critical. And if people have not mastered the art of time, they lose. Train yourself once you are now at university. Don't be the one that walks in at the lecture room when the lecture has also gone for 10 minutes. Push you are walking in. I'm telling you that if you master time, no one will beat you. Doing things on time, doing them at the highest standard, regardless of what is demanded or expected. That means you are able to go above the required. You don't just work for your 75%. extra mind. The outcomes of diligence are great. Listen to what Proverbs chapter 22 verse 29 says. This is a wise man that is speaking. He was not only wise, because of diligence, he became a righteous man by the name of Solomon. Amen. He says, diligent people, listen to this one. They always sought out by people in positions of dominance. And then they must give you Vicks that you are putting it on your head. I'm educated. I can tell you the mixture of Vicks. I can tell you the mixture of things are not going to set you. It's a waste of time. It has wasted so much. And educated somebody. There he goes. He's going to listen to a person can tell you as you walk in. Listen to me. If I come now, I can tell you and I say, listen, let me show you how you can make $1 million. And then you bring that person who does not have shoes. And they are wearing all around them. They are not going anywhere. So educate, you've gone through, man. You've sat down, you've read eulogies, you have read, my goodness, much big books that you have read. This person doesn't know how to help you to make $1 million. In fact, if you can bring a balance sheet here and say, read this balance sheet, you know what you're talking about. That's why even today the economy of South Africa is in the hands of people somewhere who are residing in Stellenbosch. Yes, 75% of South Africa is there in Stellenbosch. Because someone is busy, is running somewhere in bed to collect something, but I don't get us strong. Let me go, because I have some people who are coming from Zambia. I went to Rhodes University, acquired B Social Science. However, I've always carried a notion. I've got other accolades about positioning yourself. What is it that distinguished Joseph at a young age? Joseph understood that you need to set yourself apart. You have to be different. That is why when they gave him the coat of many colors, he was different from his brothers. Was not the same. And that notion got so ingrained inside of him that I am different. You see, God, when He brought you here in this world, He did not bring you because He had somebody in mind. Let us in our own image, and let them mean. Oh, image, duplicated kind of. It's a lamb. The image of your neighbor. Amen. Was somebody else, but what you have in this world is a waste. He brought here in this world in your uniqueness. Unique in terms of your function. Uniqueness in terms of even the things you are dreaming about for your future. So I realized at a young age to establish I was around of now here I go to a wide dominant. In fact, you could count them during my years. Amongst them, that these people are fellows, they are sinners. Let me preach to them. Then I established a Christian center. Those years, those institutions, 1980, black people, the ministry go and it went off campus and attacked members of the and the visit and non-racial denominational church, attracting thousands. I was meeting with them in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. Yeah, there's Duma. There's Duma. Then I had Afro there. These are the preach. A young girl will shake their. I'm trying to say, don't undermine what God made out of you. And the Lord told me to and move to Transvaal. So before it became how, then I came back here. Due to lack of financial support this night, I prayed and answered and said, Lord, please help me. Hey, I need to. And I now very nicely. So, that I get a job. And some of students who were there at Rhodes, they were looking for me. One of them told me that he has found a job for me. And then I joined Unilever. In a stint of 6 months, this thing of positioning yourself came back to me. But I was horizontally moved to become a brand manager. So I handled Melrose cheese and I became very aggressive in my strategies. Never late for appointments, never late for meetings. Am I talking to you? Yes. Before I go into a meeting, I will do my own preparations for the meeting. I don't want to get into a meeting where I don't know what they are talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Anything that they were going to talk about, I will do research. I will equip myself. By the time the meeting starts, I'm already there. I maintain the character of diligence. Plan for meetings, as I said. Arrive early for meetings. Properly dress for the meetings. Rehearse all the issues. I will rehearse over and over and over before the discussions are going to happen. I'm going to say to you that is what you need to develop when you get out of this institution. But start here. And in no time, the word flew so strongly in the ears of the directors of Unilever. And then they considered me for promotion. That was now within 18 months, when I was a believer, that they considered me that I should go and handle Simmonsburg cheese. Simmonsburg, which is in Stellenbosch. Says, shall stand before kings. That means that to stand before, saying to you is to come and stand before Father as a king. It's not nothing else but diligence. So I decided to resign because I realized now that I was becoming more important. And then I went to join Cadbury Schweppes. That company is the one that immediately realized that I am different. And difference was not because of what I wear. I'm talking to someone here under the sound of my voice. It was because of the diligence. So they helped me to stimulate growth. But I was confident and very creative. In other words, I will go an extra mile. When others were saying, let's go, I will still be in the office. I'd rather leave an hour after they have left. The point, I needed to be ahead of my pack. Ahead of my pack. Ahead of my pack. Ahead of your class. Do much more. Don't say, Anna, I'm a crack. The crack is not. I was given a portfolio of brands like Chappies, Eclairs, Sweetie Pie, Sunrise, Fruitus, Chaklas, and Dear Mints Romantics, to name just a few. Who Chappies is your favorite? Within 8 months, I took Chappies from an 18 million rand brand at that time to 108 million rand. Some of you know the Chappies Little League. That's my brainchild. Chocolate eclairs became superior because it was introducing chocolate to the people who cannot afford the slabs of chocolate at that time. Sweets and bubblegum opened the door for me to interact with power. I began to interact with power. I began to tell that I can take these brands into the rest of the continent, and they allowed me that I should do that. That cemented strong relationship with those countries. I'm a little bit frustrated because sometimes to promote these brands, you need to advertising firms, advertising agencies. So they were not doing it. I will always think for them what is it that they needed to do. So I decided to leave Cadbury Schweppes and I joined the advertising and marketing industry. I came in partnership with a small company, which was number 26. Listen to me. This is diligence will make you run ahead of your pack. Now, diligence here, you will see the difference. Within 9 months, I company to be ranked number 3. From 26 to number 3. In fact, at that time, there were no black firms except Head Boys, which was run by Peter Vundi. There were no in advertising. I repositioned major in South Africa. which I still believe that they need to give me a doctorate for it. I cannot be given doctorates by countries which are outside South Africa. These are the brands that I repositioned. Bring strategy and creative work, concept of 360, what I established as an agency. We launched a brand called Vivo. This was not moral that was driving me. Vivo, it's a beer. I knew that I'm a pastor because I was in church. When they gave me the grudge that I have was that there is this company called SAP, which is a monopoly in our country. Everything that they want to do, they can do it. And they can do it the way they like. They can even come and coerce our politicians. I said, no, not under my watch. I took Vivo, that was the first slogan that was introduced at SABC. They were not allowed to mix the languages. Yeah. So I broke for the first time. Was allowed. So, and I disrupted SAB to an extent that they organized meetings with us and Mahanele to come and negotiate with us. And we asked and say, no, Vivo must be given 10% in the marketplace. If you have handled the issues of beer, you will understand when they say you have a market share of 10%, you are talking huge sums of money. So I went to relaunch the SABC, Simunye in SABC 1, Come Alive in SABC 2, SABC 3 quality show, and TV licensing. It is the right thing to do. I relaunched the SABC from SAEGA. Yeah, no, these ones are new. You smell the factory now. Diligence once again. Got into telecom. Launched Molom Shogo 1. Molom Shogo 1 is my concept. ESCOM introduced several brands. One of the ones which were outstanding was ElectroWise. Went to Transnet, Sportnet, Metrorail, Portnet, relaunched SAA. The flag that you see behind the tail of SAA, we relaunched that. Reserve Bank, we launched the Mandela notes. That even today you still use Mandela notes to buy. When they were undermining the province of Limpopo, say it's a backward province, it's a province that believes so much in witchcraft and all that, I said, give me that brand, let's turn it around. We turned it around. In fact, when we were relaunching and launching the name Limpopo, because it used to be known as the Northern Province, we launched it as Limpopo. We designed a song. When the song was launched, the following day, people were singing the song. Some of you don't remember the song anyway. We relaunched the post office. Number 1. And many, many, many more. In my conclusion, I said, I can understand what advertising can do. So let me now go to the tertiary. This is, it just talks, these are some of the newspapers that were quoting and talking about me. In 1998, 150 million rands, I already was talking about 200 for going into my pocket. 1998. So, my figures were I don't know what they're talking about. All right, let's go further because I don't have much time. Presidential political campaigns. This is not a child's play. But suffice it that, let me show you some of the pictures, then you will see people that we had to launch. Here they can see, maybe there they can see. I heard Mr. Pane talk about Africa only. And you can see also that the Middle East is there. Down on my left is Zambia. He did not want to redeploy me to help him, that's why they took him out. On the middle, you know who we're talking about. And to help also with the re-imaging of the police, you can see Pelita there. In fact, we went together, we went somewhere in the Middle East. And down there, it's Central Republic. They are in the middle of me. On the left, it was the former president of Zambia, and now he's now the former president of Central Republic. And there are more. Oh yeah. No, whether we were talking something else there, but in the middle is now the current president of the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix. And down there, the former president of Malawi, and on the other is still the president now, Uhuru Kenyatta. There's still some more. You know the one. And then the bottom is Tanzania, and that's the Foreign Affairs Minister of Saudi Arabia and the Foreign Minister of Tanzania. That's the president on the left up. It's a woman, the president of Tanzania. And something that I was doing to reposition the image of Sudan, that's al-Bashir at the bottom with me there. And right at the top is the current president of Ghana, Nana. The bottom is Felix again. I don't know why they put that other photo. There's the DRC again. Is that don't ever think that I can travel the SAA all the time. We can see. That's the president of Burkina Faso. That's me and our president here. So I'm saying to you, we go even into big meetings. Don't ever think that Mzalwane cannot go into big meetings. All in all, if I can just conclude, are there any other pictures? All in all, I can just conclude is that you are not here to just while away. You are here by design of the Almighty God. Amen. God is here to equip you so that you go out and you are going to be the Joseph. You are going out, you are going to be the Daniel of South Africa. I just want, if you may allow me, I've done my job, I've finished. I want to pray for you. Yes, sir. your people. May you come again, Mama. Oh, they ask me, I need to go there, so that we take this and then I can phone. Father, going to be also make my that Lord God, let they strike this relationship with another institution, so that our students can also be exposed to what the first world countries are doing. However, I have deposited, I believe, words of encouragement to your. These are the ones being shaped to be able to handle the sophistication of our economy, to arise and build South Africa. South Africa can arise, and Lord God, we do not want that people should say, now South Africa is in. Look how tough as it is. Help us with your wisdom. Help us. Oh, Father God, let knowledge come strongly and affect the brain power of your children. Amen. I ask you that, oh, mobilize the resources. Amen. Let no one drop out of the institution because they could not afford to pay for their studies. I ask you that show mercy to us. The hand of generosity be extended to your children. Amen. In the name of Jesus, the one that has called me, I ask you that you do it for them. Amen. Help them with wisdom, that they don't entangle themselves into issues that will disqualify them. Sustain them, preserve them, and protect them. Yes, Lord. I have prayed, and I have prayed in the name of your Son. I thank you. Amen. Amen. Amen.
May we give the Apostle General a round of applause. Now we are about to release the Apostle General, but before we do that, we're going to open the floor for questions. We'll take 2 sets of questions, 3 per round, and then the Apostle will answer those, and then afterwards will allow the Apostle leave to can start. So I'm not sure if there are those that the microphones are working. So if you are close to a microphone, you can just press it and then it will be able to be audible. So if you are not closer to one, you can get closer. First round of 3 questions. Okay, there's a question at the back. Another 2 questions. Let's take your question and then we'll give 1 chance and then release the Apostle General. Please get closer to the mic. You can press it to switch it on.
Thank you, Pastor. Apostle, what advice would you give to like our generation, one of us now, as you have lived this much, what advice would you give to us? Thank you.
I think my talk was an advice. The talk was an advice. Be diligent. I said my talk was the advice that I was giving you. They gave me so much freedom in that I needed to compile subject matter. I would advise that be diligent. When for training, the university is a training ground. When you know that the deadline for you to submit assignments is 4 o'clock, when the deadline that you submit by 3 o'clock, your system to be able to work even under pressure. Diligence helps you to do that. Don't be sloppy. I for one, I'm saying train yourself. You know that the lectures are starting at 3 o'clock. You cannot be walking in the lecture 15 minutes. I tell you a story about President Nelson Mandela. Very diligent. He would be so punctual in meetings, and he would get hurt when people would be late for meetings, including at that time when he was late for a particular meeting and he was already sharing a meeting. I organized a meeting with few political at that time in 1994, the elections. And the one astounded me, the delegation that was led at that meeting. 15 minutes ahead, came into the meeting before the meeting could start. 15 minutes. They already had their name tags and also having prepared name tags that are on the desks. And when I looked at that, I said, wow, these guys are going somewhere.
Thank you very much, Apostle. I noted 2 hands on this side. There was a hand at the back. There was a hand. If you may, my brother, please go to your mic. I'm not sure. Or if you'd like to use the campaigning voice of election.
Thank you very much. My name is Lekim Kwek. I think my question will also be in line with the latter speaker that just spoke in regards to say what is the advice that the General Apostle is giving us. So now, mine, since I'm saying it's aligning to that one, what's the loophole that, or whatever that we seek, that we do not do currently as the young people? Because we might be diligent, but what is it that the Apostle is seeing that the young people are not doing this? So that we can know that we become diligent in whatever that we are told that we do, unlike knowing that we must be diligent in something that you do not know if it's wrong or right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ona, let's take your question. There's a mic there if you can get closer to you.
Thank you, JK. I was going to use my political voice, but it's fine. Okay, first I will be doing
Political voice.
Pardon me about that. Maybe it came out wrong. Mr. JK, thank you. I think I'm really amazed by such a formidable resume from Reverend. I'm just asking myself where he got so much time to do all of those things. But I'm still struggling so little here. But my question really, if not a question, is in this day where there are so many odds against the current generation, you mentioned poverty and all of those things. As a young person growing up, how did you manage to overcome such such factors that you just outlined during your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Una. I will let the Apostle General answer the 2 questions, and then we'll open for just 2 more last questions, and then we close it.
If you ask me in terms of my observation, and also in terms of so many campaigns that I have run, I have engaged the Human Science Research Council to do certain studies for me to be able to handle certain campaigns for particular companies. And I have used many other research institutions to draw information. I also have interacted with a lot of institutions. Also with youth ministry. What always becomes a uniform for me is that I don't know what happens that students lives, but the other where to be their parents. We never had unity. And in fact, it was South Africa was bad. We had to fight to position ourselves. We have to fight to set ourselves apart. And this is the message that I'm carrying with you. That if Joseph could make it easy, that I'm giving to you. Be diligent. Today I'm carrying this thing, it's like myself that when I'm going to speak to TUT, it's going to be all about
There's a second question, Apostle. The first question was the one on where is the loop? What's the youth missing?
what I'm saying is diligence.
That was the first one. Then the second one of the bridge. What was the second one?
I was basically asking how the courage that he got to be where he is.
I looked at the 2 hands at the back. They will come.
Yes, but I want you to know that they are also fellow human beings, the same like you. If right now you're going to take something to cut your wrist, what is going to come out of it? Just rub it out of you and say, towards the capacity of your. The first thing is diligence. If you call me again to come and let's interact and talk of other, I've written because we're no black. I'm telling you, give you strong books. One is about secret key of success.
Okay.
They are going to
Give you the books after the session. Relax. Gentlemen at the back, I hearing your questions. Diligent. Let's take the two of you and then we wrap up the session.